Justin drives me to drinking. I wasn't an alcoholic when I met you.
Bit of black holes.
Correlation equals causation.
I don't even know what that means. Those are big words.
Okay, correlation. If it correlates, causation means it causes.
You just said the same word twice. You didn't tell me what they mean.
Explaining to you. Correlate. You know what correlate means. You're not retarded. You think you are. Sometimes you like to pretend that you are.
Are you ready?
I don't have to fiddle with your mic this time.
You're fussing with me, woman. You ready?
But you're supposed to tell me to talk into your mic, and you didn't.
Talk into my mic.
You didn't try that hard.
All right.
Hi, and welcome to Abundance Rising family. I wanted to let you guys know that our goal is to drop a new comedy video every Sunday. So, putting you on the spot here, check back for them every Sunday for a new comedy video if you appreciate Justin's humor.
You know, it is a real life story. This is not comedy. These are tragedies. If we're writing tragedies here, that had nothing to do with comedy. This ain't funny.
So, every Sunday, we are going to be dropping another tragedy of Justin's life. So check back every Sunday if you are specifically looking to feel sorry for him and to point fingers and laugh at him. You'll know when to see it. It's
to make you feel better about your life.
Mm-hmm. Everything else during the week, that will be me and the children. So if you really prefer that, steer away from Sundays and check in the rest of the week.
I like that.
Sundays are your day. Call. You like that?
Yeah, I do.
So back to our regular scheduled program.
All right. So I want to talk about a time. This is an important time. This is back when I was in the Army.
Aren't they all important times?
Not always. Most of them it's nonsense. There's foolishness. But this one was important. Okay. So I was stationed, for those of you who don't know, I was stationed in Hawaii. And I had a friend of mine in the Army. And he had some family members who lived in Hawaii. And he's like, hey, listen, we're opening up a new Himalayan restaurant. And we'd like you to come to the Himalayan restaurant. He goes, but there's a couple of stipulations. So what do you mean stipulations, man? That's kind of strange already. He's like, no, just listen, just come. They're trying to drum up business. Really great people. Really, really nice.
Brand new.
Yeah, it's new. Right. It's brand new. I was like, okay, cool. What do you got? He's like, well, first off, you're going to have to represent the Army. No matter what happens, you're going to have to be tough. And I was like,
Army's strong.
That's kind of a strange thing to say about someone going to a restaurant. But I said, just so you know, you came to the right spot. I am that guy.
Manly.
I'm about as tough as they come, man. I said, I will absolutely do this. We will do this. He's like, okay, great. So we get in the car and we're riding. He's kind of building it up. You know, it's all home cooked. It's really fresh. It's really, really fresh. Now that's going to come into play later. It's really fresh. And I was like, great. We go deep into the Waianae side. If you've ever been to Hawaii, Waianae, we were not allowed to go there. So I went there often.
Oh, I was allowed to go there?
Yeah, I wasn't.
You weren't allowed?
No. Soldiers were not allowed because we kept getting into fights and stealing their women. It was a whole mess. Anyway.
You were stealing their women. I spent a lot of time on Waianae side.
Yeah, Waianae. You could not go on the Waianae side.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
This is deep Waianae. We roll up and it was somebody's house. And I'm like, you said it was a restaurant. He's like, yeah, it's in the back. They're just getting off the ground. I was like, okay. I've never had no Himalayan food. So we come around with like a trailer. We come around the back of the trailer and there's like a shack out there on the back side of it. And it had a bunch of vats and stuff and boiling. And
was it at least on the ocean?
No.
No ocean view.
No, it was more like, I don't know, like Section 8 housing and dumpsters, kind of like that. It was real classy, you know. And I was like, okay,
like
great.
Literally a hole in the wall. Those are the best places.
Well, you'd think. So anyway, I get there. And I sit, he's like, sit down, and then the waitress will come, and they're speaking in their language and stuff. So I'm thinking, not thinking of it, it's sounding cool. And so we get there, and they set down these like crackers, and I should have known at this point. But Kerrigan, I did not drive, and I'm far from home, and I got to be tough. And these little crackers look like burnt roaches. So I pick them up, and I'm smelling it. I'm trying to eat it, and it smelled like kind of curdled milk and burnt roaches. I was like, okay, all right. He's like, have a little, and it was bad. I mean,
Army tough.
So he's like, come on, man. He's like, dude, I brought you all the way out here. He's like, kind of made that little.
Wait, was he eating them too?
Yeah, oh yeah, he was crushing them. Oh. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, dude,
who did you hang out with?
I don't remember his last name now. It's been so long. I don't remember his last name. That way you can't look it up. But anyway, so. eating the little crackers.
This dude enjoyed curdled milk and roaches.
Yeah, it was
I'm a little
gross.
worried about your company that you keep.
It was a bunch of hoodlums and nonsense and riffraff. So we started eating, and then the waitress comes out, and she's like, "Oh, another army one. You brought another army one." She goes, "These guys are always weak." I was like, "What are you weak?" Whoa, man! I just
calling you out.
I just got here.
What can you do now?
What can I do? So I ate the whole cracker. I was like, "Who's weak now?" And she's like, "I'm gonna bring you some water." She goes, "Today we have guinea fowl. Have you ever had guinea fowl for an appetizer?" I said, "No, I don't know that I've ever had a guinea fowl. I don't know what that is." She's like,
I didn't know they had those on the island.
Yeah, well, they had a couple of them. And she's like, "It's kind of looks like a chicken, tastes a lot like chicken." And I was like, "Okay, great. I'll take the guinea fowl. It sounds great." And so we're sitting here talking, and we're eating some more of these little roach cracker things. And all of a sudden, there sounds like there's an altercation in the kitchen. and I turn to look, and then the altercation gets louder, and the cook falls out of the door, like a door with the guinea fowl in his hand, and he kind of drops it like that. The guinea fowl comes flying right at me and hits me in the face. Now, I wasn't expecting it, okay, because I kind of stood up, and then it hit me in the face, and you know how you go to catch something, and you're like, and I missed, and it scratched my face, and it took off. So as the appetizer is gaining altitude over the trailer, the lady waitress comes up, and she's like, "Why didn't you catch it?" "What do you mean? Why would I have to catch my food?" She's like, "If you'd have caught it, we could have cooked it, and that sucker is gone." I'm like, "Oh, he's free. He's free. That sucker is gaining altitude." She's like, "Well, now you're going to have chicken." And I said,
"What can you do? Chicken it is."
Spitting out feathers. I'm like, "All right, chicken it is." So that sucker took off, and then the chicken appetizer comes out, and it was like a fried chicken. It wasn't bad. And I was like, "Okay, this is really starting to look up." And she's like, "Now for the main course." We actually have, and then 2 or 3 other tables had seated at that time. So the main course.
They get guinea fowl?
I know that it was gone. The one that took off, it was still gaining altitude. You can see it way out there, fluttering. It was free though. They were really bummed out over that for a good long while. So there's 4 tables there, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna get the main course now." And I said, "What do you mean get the main course?" So she goes in the back, and then they lead a goat through. And it has a name tag.
Yeah.
And its name was Barry. I'm like, "Do you want to pet Barry?" I said, "I don't want to pet Barry. Am I fixing to eat Barry?" And they're like, yeah, this is going to be the main course for the 4 tables here. And I'm like, "This is crazy. Y'all do it."
Hey, they said fresh food.
Dude, they weren't kidding. And I'm like, Barry the goat.
Was it Barry with a capital B?
I don't know. I was looking at it. I was, at this point, I'm in shock. And I'm like, what?
So I recently heard that white goats taste better than dark colored goats. I'm curious, do you remember what color was Barry?
He was all kinds of different colors. He was black and white and maybe blue. I don't know. Remember, I just got hit by a guinea fowl in the face.
Spitting feathers.
Yeah, I was. So what I do recall, he was a whitish goat.
It matters.
He might have been a Spanish boar. Now that I have goats and I understand that.
They're not black.
No, it's white, and then it had like a black face with the horns. So Barry the goat, and I'm like, "I don't want to pet the goat. Can you just cook the goat?" And she's like, "Okay." Well, they take it back, and then you hear another altercation, and then we're just talking, and it's kind of a weird table conversation to have when there's an altercation in the kitchen, and then your food goes on. You start hearing some sizzling. It kind of smells like burnt hair, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, man, what? My big mouth. What did I just get myself into? Okay, how did this happen? So then the waitress comes back out and she goes, "Okay, we've got it prepping now and it's going and it's doing its thing. We have regular or we have spicy." And I'm thinking, "Yeah, man, I can handle some spicy." She goes, "You're pretty tough. You could probably handle spicy, right?" I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, yeah, what's the worst that can happen?" They brought me some beer. It was
you and the worst that could happen, man.
Yeah, well, they have some Himalayan beers, and I'm 4 or 5 deep into them. Had me a nice appetizer. Things are going well. So she's like, "You sure it's spicy?" And I said, "Man, I got it." She was like, "Okay, you can't. We don't put up with waste here." I was like, "I'm paying for the food." She's like, "Yeah, but we don't waste because in our country, there's a lot of people who don't have food. The Himalayans, whatever that's at." So I was like, "Okay, hey, bring it spicy. I am a man. Ain't nothing I can't handle spicy.
Army tough.
I am army tough." So then they bring out a little rice, and you had to be really careful because there's a little piece of rock in the rice. So I was chewing the rice, and this happened in Afghanistan too. I'll tell you about that another time. But about chipped my tooth on the rice, and I'm like, the rice, and they brought out what all I can really explain it because my buddy did not get spicy. And that should have been ding number one, red flag number one. Spicy shows up, and I am here to tell you that was liquid lava in a cup, man. And it was, you know, it was pretty big, and it would put it over the rice, and I start eating it, and I start to sweat. Now, first couple of bites, I'm okay. 3 to 4 bites in, man, all I can taste is pain. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking, it is starting to hurt. And all I can see is, and my friend's like, please don't embarrass me, man. You need to eat this food. Well, I'm sweating. I'm just down in beers. So and that's not good. And it's not going well. All of a sudden, I lose sight in my left eye. And I lose hearing in my right ear. So I'm eating, trying to be army strong. And you've already seen what happens when I eat chicken wings. If you saw that video, it was fixing to go down that road, like in a hurry. So I'm eating and eating and eating. And at some point I looked at my friend and I said, listen, I don't mean to embarrass you, but it was more like, because I mean, I had lost most of the feeling and it was just coming out. Like I'd put it on one side.
Nerve damage.
It's coming out the other side.
I've heard that can happen.
Yeah. And I'm like,
in the Himalayas.
man, I'm sorry, man. I can't do it. I mean, I don't want to be that. And he's like, okay, well, I understand. You know, we'll get a to-go bag. It's not usual. And the lady comes up. She's like, man, I told you keep bringing these army guys out here. They can't handle the hot food. Now I'm like, look, I understand you're talking crazy to me right now. And I understand that I'm on the weaker end of this and I've been whooped. I get that. But you shouldn't serve this to people. Like, I don't know what this is. It didn't really have a flavor except for hot. Like, there's a difference between Himalayan hot and like Mexican or Spanish hot. That stuff was hot, man. It burned your skin. Like when you touched it, I don't know what they put in there. Had little leaves and stuff in there, dude. That stuff was hot. So we leave, we get up to leave, pay the bill. And it was like $80 too, man. This is like in the early 2000s. You know, you're supporting the restaurant. And I was like, man, that's crazy. And I can't see, hair starting to come back. He's like, here's your little to-go thing. And it's kind of just still kind of, it's all on my shirt. It wasn't going, it was burning my skin down my shirt. It wasn't going good. So we go to leave and there's like, and it's just hot, man. It's burning. I'm on fire. I'm out of beer. And there at the front of the store, there's like a little bowl with a dish with like little fennel seeds in it. And I guess they put those in like a potpourri dish. Well, I thought I had to eat those. So I took a bite. I'm like, so it's liquid dripping out. And it's like, and then they're like, the lady, the waitress lady is like, the stupid army guys are eating the potpourri again. Can you please get your friend? Again, this has happened before. Can you please get your friend and get out of here? So that was like one of the worst restaurant experiences I ever had in Himalayan food. So when you get something fresh, I learned after that, you really need to ask some questions. You need to find out what kind of place they're doing, what kind of food they're doing. You know, I mean, the appetizer again had flown off. It turned poor fast. So just be really careful before you shoot off your mouth about how army strong you really are.
You know what the most difficult word that I had to learn when I lived in Hawaii?
What?
The humu humu nuku nuku apawa'a.
The fish, isn't it?
Can you do it?
No.
The Hawaiian state fish. The humu humu nuku nuku apawa'a.
See, she's way smarter than me.
Can you try?
Do it again.
Humu humu nuku nuku apawa'a.
No. Humu humu no. I wouldn't eat it either. It probably would have swum off and hit me in the face or something crazy. So that's my Himalayan story.
I lived in Hawaii and I ate Hawaiian food. What is that?
You know, you'd think that's where you'd go, but you know, that story had come to mind this week as I'd eaten some other stuff, especially after the chicken wing video, after what happened at the big box store. So
do you remember the Dole pineapple fields?
I do.
With pineapple ice cream?
Pineapple ice cream is fantastic.
So I went to Hawaii. I ate Hawaiian food.
Well, I mean, when you're in the army, you got to be strong, and you know, you're goaded into something about how tough you are.
That's happened a lot to you in your life, hasn't it?
It has. It really, really has.
So I'm going to need you to work on making me a promise.
I'm not good at promises.
From this point out, you can no longer ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen?
It's ending up petting Barry, the goat, when you're trying to eat him, and your appetizer attacked you and took off. So it happened.
I hear Guinea's pretty good.
I wouldn't know. It was gaining altitude last time I seen it. So I wished it nothing but the best. I was like, you made it, Jack.
And Barry was delicious.
Barry, it was hot. No, it was lava.
I was trying to.
That's why I still don't eat goat to this day.
That's why you don't eat goat
that
to
in
this
Afghanistan,
day.
I'll tell you an Afghanistan goat story. I almost got in some big trouble over that. For real, but
we probably won't share that story. Remember at the Japanese gardens, we decided not to film any illegal activity.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, thank you for sharing your heart.
That's my Himalayan story. True story.
So this is Abundance Rising Family. Justin has lived it, and he intends to share all of his stories with you. Like, subscribe, come back next Sunday. You won't be disappointed.
We'll be here.